Good morning, welcome back to our shop just outside Kennesaw here in North Georgia. Well, I'm sitting behind another set of Lane Acclaim furniture, but there's a real interesting story to this group. Last week my wife was out antiquing with her sister and ran across this set at, believe it or not, another antique mall. Really unusual that a dealer would have items like this. He sold them to her for $300. I guess he just wanted to get rid of them. She was happy to get it because we've had great success selling these sets. We've sold refinished sets like this for $1,100. She brought them home and I took a look at them, and they're in really, really good shape. They are original finish, which is highly unusual, and the two tables, the two-tiered lamp tables, were manufactured on the same day, the coffee table about a week later. Now, just as a reminder, if you read the serial number backwards from right to left, it'll give you the date. So this is December 4th, 1965, and these were late November 1965. They're one-owner tables. The dealer that sold them to her told her about it, and the woman who had these was so proud of them she put her name on the bottom on a piece of duct tape, which I'll show you in just a minute. Now, we struggled to decide what we're going to do with these. Normally I refinish them. You've seen me do that in 2 or 3 separate videos. We've had great success selling them in that condition. But we've never ever offered up a set of Lane Acclaim in original finish. Now what we have here is effectively a matching set of original finish Lane Acclaim tables from 1965. So we're going to try to sell these as they are. And all I'm going to do maybe is a little color touch up here and there, clean and wax these, and take them to the store and see what happens. If they don't sell in 4 weeks or so, maybe 6 weeks, I'll bring them home and I'll refinish them. Nothing gained, nothing lost. But this is an opportunity for a customer who's searching for an original finish piece to have one. And these are in unusually good condition. There are nicks and chips and a couple places of worn finish and some scratches, but nothing like the damage we've normally seen. And the other thing I'll do with these before we even touch them is take them outside in the bright sun and film and photograph them so you have a record of what an original finish table from 1965 should look like. And to me, that's a very, very important piece of information. So stick with us. I'll show you what I do to clean these, what I do to do some color touch-ups if I decide to do them, and what I do then just to wax them. It'll be a whole lot shorter video than normal, but it's going to be something different, and it's going to open up a new direction in what we've discussed in furniture restoration, and that is polishing up original finish things with all their warts and all their flaws to see if the customer really wants that. So stick with us. I will show you each of these pieces one at a time, underside and top side. I'll take you outside. We will make a record of what the finish looks like original, and then we'll start to clean these up and polish them up. So this should be fun. See you in a little bit. And here are the two lamp tables side by side outside. One of the big questions we always get, we always have, is what is the contrast between the lighter wood? I believe it to be ash, some people believe it to be oak. Lane alleged it was fruit wood, but I don't think it is. Regardless, what is the contrast between the lighter wood and the darker wood? And you can see it's not much. It's not that stark, stunning dark against light that you see so often when people refinish these. It's much more blended and muted, much more like what we do when we shoot toner on this. What is striking to me is the finish is much more gold and much less red than perhaps we'd expected. And as we had talked before, a lot of the gold was already in the walnut when you get this stripped off. So it may be just a light coat of toner, or there may actually be a light coat of glaze that was put on these to get this color. The legs are darker walnut, and the shelves, surprisingly, are very dark. The undersides of the shelves, and please don't cringe, but I'm going to put this on top of here. But you can see the underside of the shelf, how much darker that is than Abby wants to come check these out. How much darker this is than here or here, but of course these are going to get bleached over the years, and this is going to have some protection from the sun. So these may have even been darker, but look how dark the legs are on this piece, and the legs do match the shelf. So we know now that the legs and the shelves are matching color-wise. Next scene, I'm going to bring you out into the sun, which may screw up the white balance, but it'll help with the colors. That's what they're supposed to look like. And that's in the bright sun. And you can see that these tones, although this is lighter, these tones are the same. I've had a lot of questions from people that have contacted me on email feeling that they have to delineate these dovetail cutouts when they refinish, and the answer to that is no. That if you properly seal it and then put your color over top of it, that's proper. Now if you look on the side, you can see some wear here, and you can see how light that ash really is, and the delineation in the color right there. So before I get started refinishing these, I'm going to pull these pieces out one at a time and photograph them for my own records, and then we'll get started cleaning these up. Hope you can see in raking light. This is the most worn of the pieces. You've got a lot of little micro scratches here, little indentations from things being dragged. There's a little circle here. There's a couple of places where the finish is gone. Looks like somebody may have dripped some fingernail polish or something there. And then this area right here is the worst on all of it for all three tables. And we have some missing finish here. It's starting to crack. And normally this would be this would necessitate retop coating this, and I'm not going to do it for this piece. I'm not going to do it for this piece yet. It's hard for me to say no, but that's what the plan is. So there we go. God, I'm wondering if I could make this better by wet sanding it and shooting a light coat of lacquer just on this one piece. Okay, jury's still out on what I'm going to do with the coffee table. Let's move on to the other two. And here we have the first of the two lamp tables, and this is in really, really good shape. There's a little ding right there, and another little spot where it looks like somebody may have put some nail polish on it, nail polish remover. A little paint chip right there we can get up, but really it's in incredible condition for being used in someone's home since 1965. The lady that owned these really should be proud of how she took care of her stuff. Let's get the other one in here. And here's the second one. Again, this is in really good shape as well. Some wear along the edges, scratches through the finish here, and out here is the worst for it, an area where the finish is rubbed through. You know, I'm all for the original finish, but when the finish fails, I get concerned, and we'll see what we can do. But let's get started. I've mixed up a mild cleaning solution of water, some Dawn dishwashing detergent, and some TSP, trisodium phosphate. And I'm just going to very, very gently start to clean these down and see what we're dealing with. I have a feeling if there's any dirt on these, it came after this left the home of Mrs. Chisholm. Okay, let me bring you back here when I get this all cleaned up. We've got some tape residue here. As you know, tape residue is usually oil soluble. This sealer is a lacquer-based sealer, so we shouldn't have any troubles putting some mineral spirits, which is an oil solvent, on the tape residue and then gently rubbing it, and then you take it off and leave everything behind. There we go. We did it. Okay, let me get the rest of them taken care of. And the mineral spirits did a great job getting that tape residue up. I'm real happy the way this underside looks. Looks brand new. And you can see we've got a little paint residue on the tip of the leg. That's not to be, it's not unexpected. I'm just going to put a little bit of crud cutter on a piece of 4/0 steel wool, and gently, you don't want to wipe the paint off, but once the crud cutter does an incredibly good job removing latex paint, and if it's stubborn, you just need to really kind of break the crust of the paint and it'll come right off. And hopefully you can see I'm on the second leg now, and it's got to take the paint right off. There we go. Okay, keep going. Here's the underside of the excuse me, the underside of the coffee table. It looked a little dried out to me, so what I did is, after I cleaned it, is I took a little bit of dark brie wax and put it inside of a rag and squeezed it, made a small applicator, and just put a very light coat of brie wax on it, and then I followed it up with a very light coat of mineral oil. I just took some mineral oil, put it on this little ball rag, and again, it's very, very small because I wanted very, very little on there, and that just helps the wax melt into the wood, and I think it looks great. It looks just the way it should, and I'm very happy with it. So what I'm going to do now is take a look at these legs and see if I want to do any spot color touch-ups on them without getting into more of a restoration than we'd hoped to. You can see right there, there's a pretty good little whack right there. I may put a little bit of color there. I'm going to leave the flaws on the leg tips alone, because once I start to paint them, I have to paint them all. So we'll leave that alone, but I'm going to touch up over here. I've got a selection of Mohawk's brush tip graining markers here. These are just fine tipped markers that have colored lacquer in them, and they really help you touch up small things. They're also very good for putting in grain lines as well. So let's go down here, try to shoot this so you can see. And this color is raw umber. What I'm doing is just putting a little bit on and wiping it so it doesn't get too dark. It also gives it a more natural appearance. And I think that's fine. Okay, just to tone down that white spot from where the finish was knocked off. Okay, I think we're about ready to turn this thing over. Well, I've decided if we're going to leave it unrestored, we're going to leave it unrestored. We can always come back and refinish it later. I don't want to wet sand that and then wind up shooting a half a coat on there and try to blend gloss and color. It's going to defeat what we're trying to do. So all we're going to do here on this top is wax it. I'm going to use a Fitty's paste wax in Rugger Brown. I'll put it on the same way. I'll put a glob in this rag, fold it over, squeeze it, get a coat on there, work it in with some steel wool and buff it off and see how we do. But as we push down, you start to see that wax is coming through. So let's see how it goes on. Okay, we're going to put on a hand rubbed wax finish and I'll bring you back. This is a brand new microfiber cloth, and I let the Fitties haze up, and now I'm just polishing it up. You bring up as much shine as you can. I can't describe to you how much I'm struggling about this decision. I want to make this flawless, and I know I have to leave it alone. But I guess that's how we learn, right? Give it a try and see how it works. But you can see what we've created. And actually, even though I haven't got this polished off, although it's a little bit darker, this doesn't look quite as bad as it did before either. So I'll keep at it and bring you back. And we got the lamp table turned upside down, and as you can see, Miss Chisholm, bless her heart, had put her name on this with a pretty heavy piece of strapping or packing tape. We don't want to tear off any wood or any finish, so I'm going to heat it up with a heat gun, see if we can get that off of there. Miss Chisholm, thanks for taking good care of your stuff. We'll get that residue off with mineral spirits, and then we'll do the same thing to the underside of this that we did to the coffee table. I can't help myself. There's this color chip on this leg, and I'm just using a black Sharpie to touch it out. There you go. This is killing me. Okay, we'll keep going. Here are the two lamp tables after we got done with them, and I think they look beautiful. I'm very concerned about this coffee table, and the reason is there's so much broken finish here that I feel like we're going to compromise. We may be compromising the wood by not recoating this. So what I'm going to do is take some mineral spirits, clean off everything that I've done here, wet sand this as lightly as I can, and mist on a coat of probably lacquer, and then very gently blend it into the rest of the finish. This isn't about concealing anything, this is about preserving the wood, because with this compromised finish, this wood could easily stain. So we're going to just do a little bit more to this than we had initially planned. Okay, I've wet sanded this with I think 500 grit wet dry sandpaper and mineral spirits as a lubricant, and you can see where the finish is missing. And again, what we're only going to try to do is to put a light top coat on this to protect the wood. After wet sanding, I masked off this end of the table and then lightly sprayed my first coat of lacquer-based sanding sealer on the damaged area. We're going to let that dry. We're going to rub it out with steel wool. We'll shoot a second coat of sealer on there, and then a coat of lacquer. I think it's going to be fine. I think this was the right thing to do. This wasn't about protecting an original finish. This was about protecting the furniture underneath it. We've only applied top coat to about 4 inches, maybe 6 inches of this table. And you can see how much darker this got where the finish was missing compared to the other side. And there's no amount of sanding that was going to take that color out. That would have had to have been stripped to get an even color. So the table is going to gradually get darker. But hey, that's what happens. We call that patina, right? I think this was the right thing to do. And the second mist coat of sealer is on. And you can see it still looks old. It still looks original, but the wood is getting covered and it's going to be protected. So I think I'm going to let this dry. I will rub it out with some 4/0 steel wool and shoot one coat of satin lacquer over this. Give that about an hour to dry, and then rub the whole piece down again with 4/0 steel wool and wax, and I think we're going to be done. I think we've got a real nice match, and I'm no longer worried about this deteriorating. Well, hey, that was something kind of new for the channel, doing that kind of a light restoration and retaining the original finish. I'm pretty happy the way it came out. I hope we did the right thing. I think we did. I think someone will like it. So what do you say we go take a walk out front and see what they look like? And here they are, ready for sale, warts and all. You can see that there's still some scratches in them and there's still some broken finish, but there's the coffee table. That's the end we fixed. And I tell you what, I think they're beautiful. I really do. So anyways, from our shop, just outside Kennesaw here in North Georgia, this one gets a thumbs up. Best regards. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next video.